All right, everybody. Well, as these politicians are becoming increasingly unpopular, not to mention the fact that a lot of these folks are experiencing lots and lots of scandals, they have to resort through means that are quite fishy and pretty controversial. In addition to having a lot of support from the establishment media, rigging the elections, in order to pump up their base, to have actual physical bodies who support them, this along with these non-governmental organizations, is they need to have identity politics. They need to pander to certain groups. They are part of the whole social justice woke mentality. And you can see why they're promoting these open borders, because it feeds into their narrative. It's all about dirty politics. Look at the tens and thousands of Haitians that are at the border. And who knows what's going to happen? Who knows how many are going to come? It's only a matter of time where people like myself, we're just going to have to march to the border and say, no, enough is enough. We can't go on with this anymore. And it's not just the fact that they are pandering to blacks, Latinos, they're also pandering to Asians. Now, you would think, well, why would they pander to Asians? Because, aren't they outperforming in whites in many, many categories? Well, no, think again. They'll just find some other factor or some other data, information to claim that, we're struggling, we have needs, we're being oppressed. And notice how the things that they moan and complain about are quite different from blacks and Latinos. You'll hardly ever see that they'll complain about the police being aggressive, that they're more likely to be in poverty. Why do you think that is? This just shows you that there is no systemic racism when it comes to the police, when it comes to the economy. It's just the fact is that they need these points. They need some issues to point fingers at to make themselves like, they're victims. The politicians pander to them. They get votes and they're able to boost their support. So no matter how awful these politicians are, they're more likely to get reelected. It makes you think like, why the hell are you coming to the United States when you're being oppressed, when the system is pushing you around? And why are you organizing yourself? I mean, shouldn't we be all as Americans? Now, do these people ever tell you, well, why is there an increasing share of the population that's Asian? And by the way, this is not looking really good for a lot of us out there who are concerned about preserving our heritage, making sure that our values get kept, because the census data is not looking very pretty for the most part. But do they ever tell you why these demographic changes exist? Now, as for Asians, we got to know why their numbers are increasing. Well, one obvious reason is because the casinos like to hire them. Front desk, dealers, a lot of different positions. And of course, a lot of these positions are subject to technology disruptions. Not to mention the fact that I bet a lot of them have become unemployed because of the fact that, well, the pandemic came in, and I don't think all of them, or actually I only think 2/3 of them, or probably even less, is able to get their jobs. Then you've got the nursing shortage in terms of hospitals. We've brought a lot of Filipino nurses. And last but not least, of course, is the high cost of California. Now, a lot of you think, well, California is wrecking this state. Certainly, yeah, they're indirectly screwing Nevada. But what's happening, of course, is that when the high cost of living of California is getting so high, a lot of these Asian immigrants are not settling into California. They're moving to other states. In fact, a lot of them increasingly have been moving into Texas, Georgia, all across the country. Because remember, it's the red states that have the lower cost of living and the job growth. So it's not the people from the blue states that are changing them. It's the immigration. It's the demographic change. That's the thing. And the worst part is they don't realize that their voting habits wreck those states, particularly the non-white individuals. And they tell us, okay, with these demographics, we are the fastest growing group. The issue here, of course, is the fact that, well, why is it the fastest growing group? And of course, who is exactly an Asian? Now, if you look at this face, I'm Iranian descent. So technically, Iran is part of Asia. But according to them, they're not Asian Americans. But somehow Pakistanis are. See, you see where the issue is with this whole race card thing? And by the way, we need to do what we can, because once the truth comes out about the vaccines and the pandemic, and we see how these politicians got pumped, then we're going to say no to all of this. We have to stand up to this crap. I really am sick and tired of this, folks. I'm not miserable, but you guys have to understand how insane all this identity politics is getting. Now, they say that Indian Americans are somehow associated with, obviously, Asian Americans. Pakistani, well, last time I checked, they hardly have any Mongoloid DNA. And not to mention, look, they have Afghans, but they don't have Iranians. Can you think about it? Afghans, a lot of them speak Persian, Farsi. So how are you including Afghans but not Persians? Oh, it's okay for them to discriminate. Unbelievable. You need to call these people out, folks. It's unbelievable. And by the way, Iranians do have some Mongoloid influences. In case if you haven't noticed, maybe I should call out these Asians for saying, hey, you Mongolians and you Turks invaded that part of the world centuries ago, so maybe we should ask for reparations, and not to mention it's affected our genetic makeup. That's a fact. I wouldn't be surprised if I have some Mongoloid DNA. But they don't want to talk about it. It's like I said, it's all double standards, all hiding the information and so forth. But here's the thing. Why are they bringing Asians in? Now, one thing you have to understand is that Asians overall are net taxpayers. And as you know, this is not diversity. We all know that it's replacement that's the ultimate goal, kind of like what's happening in Los Angeles. Right now, only about 30% of newborns are non-Hispanic whites in Clark County. So that's pretty diverse. Any further decline is not diverse anymore. You're replacing your population. That's the harsh reality. But they want these Asians, along with people like myself, to come in because we have all these Haitians and Salvadorians coming in. And we know that people like us are going to be like the doctors and engineers, and we are net taxpayers. So as a result, these Salvadorians and others are going to need support. That's the harsh reality. And we know, obviously, a lot of these groups, like the Asian Community Development Council, which I've actually confronted, if you see my YouTube videos about a year and a half ago, that they're promoting nonstop identity politics. The whole point about all this is to divide and distract the country. That's the reality of all this. And meanwhile, they're putting all this identity politics, and we have other issues that are more important, like the growing homelessness that's happening. It's okay for them to group up, but you don't see a council for Latinos. You don't see a council for Persians. You don't see a council for European Americans. Think about all this. Now, as you can see here, they had a ceremony just recently. They were playing drums. Oh, this is a cultural advancement. This, again, is Brittany Miller. You can see her always pandering to identity politics. This is the same woman who was in the library event, which they nearly arrested me. You need to confront people like her. And what do these people do when you expose them? They block you, of course. Message these people. Expose these people, for God's sakes. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, moving on, you can see here this woman who's been smearing about me, not just from the event that happened in the library several weeks ago. She's the shill for Mi Familia Vota, pro-open borders, pro-amnesty, changing our politics and our laws. And you can see here Justin Jones, a county commissioner. Thank you for what you're doing for our community. Again, they need these groups to act like, oh, this is what the people want. They need physical bodies to think that people every day are actually being represented. You can see here, help people get vaccinated. Help legal permanent residents become U.S. citizens. DACA renewal clinic. Latinos eligible to vote. Hispanic Heritage Month. This is what it's all about. It's identity politics. It's about changing the laws. And they're not telling you how states like California has done a similar method for the past 30 years, and it's been an absolute failure. You can see here, they have their own site, their own council in the Clark County. This is their agenda. This is their commission meeting right here. Absolutely unbelievable. And you also have to be aware of a lot of organizations out there that are promoting these vaccines. Now, this is the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, which, by the way, blocked me on their Facebook page. And you can see here. And by the way, I'm not the only one that's getting blocked. My buddy with networking in Vegas is constantly being blocked. But they say, oh, we're trying to promote the business climate, keeping taxes low, diversifying. Well, let me tell you this. These suckers who are lobbying for more government programs and higher taxes, they're not helping the cause. But why aren't these organizations calling them out? Are these scums promoting the vaccines? Are these scums promoting the lockdowns, the shutdowns? It's not helping their economy. This is the thing that you have to also understand. Think about it. This, by the way, is an article. And I don't know why, for some reason, that the media keeps promoting Jeremy Aguero like he's some kind of expert. Keep in mind, this individual, which I've seen in person at the LVCVA meetings, this is an individual who, by the way, failed to predict the economic crisis, the financial crisis, the foreclosure tsunami that we had about 10 years ago. And now he's saying, oh yeah, well, if the vaccinations are going to increase, things are going to come back. Wait a second. Why are they censoring people when you expose the truth about the vaccines? We just have Project Veritas bring up about a video. It's creating all these you-know-what. I'm not going to say it because YouTube is going to take down this video. So what does he really know? It's likely if the vaccines are going to affect the population, Vegas is not coming back. That's the harsh reality of all this. You got to expose these networks. Now, you can see here, mass violence in Las Vegas schools. The masks and everything are not working. Keep in mind, though, the demographics are not helping. This is the sad, sad reality. You can see here, more fighting going on in the Las Vegas Strip. Almost 20% of COVID deaths in the last 2 weeks were fully vaccinated. Unbelievable. We're losing all these conventions. The city of Las Vegas is promoting an event that imposed medical segregation. Vital Vegas has just blocked Network in Vegas. Now look at this. In about a few hours, they're going to be promoting to Clark County that COVID misinformation is a public health crisis. Oh, come on, give me a break. And what are you going to do to enforce it, really? What are you going to do? Are you going to restrict our freedom of speech? Give me a break. Bring it on. Throw the fines. I don't care. Look at this. This scumbag, which has no major difference from Sizzlack, vaccinated Sandoval test positive. Remember, these are the same scums who got similar backing, similar donors, similar agendas. Mark Davis will forced to quarantine. The Raiders are not getting masks, but school children are. Another convention just got canceled. Unbelievable. Look, these scumbag politicians, they're not wearing masks. This is absolutely complete double standards. And look at these media whores. They're basically making up a story. They take the post down. It's absolutely disgusting. More people are even realizing how local news media is complete scumbag. They're now mandating COVID vaccination for their employees, even Resorts World. Think about it. You see all these protests. People are definitely fighting back. And they're now admitting right here that the emergency wait times are very, very low. And this is surprising considering the fact that he just admitted that the vaccines are actually doing the opposite. Homeless people essentially are causing fires. Look at this right here. Sizzalek allow convention to go mask free. Well, it's not working. It's all of this is backfiring. It's making a fool out of themselves. It's absolutely unbelievable. What kind of world are we really headed to? Now you can see here, this is right here, Mi Familia Vota. They're having a citizenship application. Unbelievable. And you can see here, Tick Sickerbloom, Olivia Diaz, the city council member. All of this, Office of New Americans, DACA recipients. This office, which I testified against about 2 years ago, is promoting illegal aliens. These politicians like Cortez, Masto need to resign, folks. It's disgusting. Project Veritas video right here. Unbelievable. And look, these criminals, these liars, were trying to sneak the amnesty part in the infrastructure bill. Well, now, since it's not working as well as it wanted to be, looks like the whole bill is going to come down. $3.5 trillion. This is causing a bearish outlook for the US dollar. You know what? Let the US dollar collapse. Then all these cockroaches coming in, they're not going to have a lot of money sending over to the border. It's absolutely unbelievable. And folks, if you want to stop this, if you want to speak out against all this crap, well, here's what you want to do. These scums are having a march. The Culinary Union, the scums who sued me, pumped these politicians, promote illegal aliens, in bed with the casino elites, they're having a protest this Friday, September the 22nd at 5 p.m. And by the way, 22nd, I actually turned 29 years old. So wish me a happy birthday. But I'm going to be out there countering these people, these scums. It's about time. And by the way, they're having a vaccine protest on the boulevard too. So you have to direct these people to counter these mother effers, believe it or not. Look at all this. Look at this. Olivia Diaz, East Las Vegas Community Center, National Citizenship Day. They just had a live video. Nevada test scores falling. Obviously, everything you need to know. It's absolutely disgusting. Where the Afghan refugees are expected to resettle, folks, this is a tsunami. They're essentially going extreme to the max. They're intensifying their efforts, but more and more people are waking up. I think Nevada's going to get only like about 150 for now. I mean, not really a big deal, but let me tell you something, folks. There's like hundreds and thousands, and I believe millions of refugees that are in Iran. My aunt in Tehran is telling me they're not happy with these refugees. In case if you haven't wondered, yes, a lot of these Afghans, they do speak Persian. However, their dialect is really different. Folks, the difference between Iran and Afghanistan is not the difference between Germany and Poland. There's vast differences. This is going to create conflict. It's going to create disgust. And if it's not going to work out there, what makes you think it's going to work out here? We have to take care of our own people, for God's sakes. All right? You can call me a white nationalist all you want, but there's other arguments too. Yeah, they're pushing cashless, but credit card fraud is rising. It's just unbelievable, folks. It's unbelievable. Look at this. Hospital administrators, a lot of people will die. Iranian nuclear scientists killed, and it's been reported by Israel. Look at this absolutely right here. We're seeing what's going to happen. Is Israel going to attack Iran too? Now with all the refugees and my relatives there? I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to believe why people can be 100% on the side of Israel. All right? It's absolutely disgusting. And right now, the economy is very, very uncertain right now. Now this, of course, the market's just opened, and believe it or not, you can see here, it was supposed to open positive, but it hasn't. It's opening red. Why is this happening? Because again, people are not happy. They're not concerned about what's going on with the economy. We're starting to see, I guess, the effects of the ending of the unemployment checks. The debt ceiling is rolling, all these different things. And I believe this correction is going to continue until possibly mid-October. Absolutely. At least it's helping the US dollar, I can tell you that. But where do you think this market is headed? Look at this. It's certainly not helping the crypto markets either. All right, everybody, you let me know what you think. And by the way, I'm going to be uploading the interview with Sam Dixon very, very soon. Thank you guys so much. Please spread this video. Stay tuned.